Imagine a world hidden beneath your feet, not just dirt and stone, but a vast, uncharted realm where ancient civilizations live in secret, possessing technology, wisdom, and knowledge long forgotten by those on the surface. Myths, religious texts, scientific oddities, and the whispered accounts of explorers all hint at something buried deep below, a truth stranger than fiction. The Bible speaks of a place called Sheol, a shadowy realm beneath the earth where souls of the dead once waited. It wasn't a place of torment, but a quiet, mysterious space between life and the hereafter. Later texts would associate it with ideas of judgment, and the Book of Enoch would go further, suggesting that Sheol was divided, some areas for the righteous, others for the wicked. While not part of the traditional biblical canon, Enoch's writings influenced ancient Jewish and Christian thought, offering a structured view of the afterlife buried deep within the planet. This ancient belief raises a stunning question. What if the underworld wasn't just metaphorical? What if it actually exists? Not in the spiritual realm alone, but physically, below our feet. In 1947, Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a highly decorated American naval officer and explorer, embarked on a mission to the North Pole. According to controversial accounts, including what is claimed to be a secret diary, Byrd flew into an opening in the Arctic and discovered a hidden land within the Earth. He described a place nothing like the icy world expected. Instead, a lush green landscape bathed in soft inner sunlight. He claimed to see enormous creatures resembling woolly mammoths and to have encountered an advanced, peaceful civilization. These beings allegedly communicated with him telepathically and issued a warning. Mankind was playing with forces too destructive, particularly atomic weapons. They were described as tall, fair-skinned, Nordic-like people, sometimes called the Ariani, who lived in harmony with their environment and possessed wisdom far beyond modern understanding. Their inner world was lit not by a traditional sun, but by a radiant, glowing force that kept their ecosystem alive. But not all life in the inner earth is described as peaceful. Some accounts suggest terrifying creatures roam the caverns, giants, beasts, and even reptilian beings. Some believers in hollow earth theory claim the Nephilim, the giant hybrid offspring of angels and humans mentioned in Genesis, were driven underground after the Great Flood and continue to exist in this hidden world. One of the most shocking testimonies came from Phil Schneider, a geologist and engineer who worked on black-budget underground projects. Schneider claimed that while constructing a deep underground military base in Dulce, New Mexico in the 1970s, he encountered humanoid reptilian beings. He spoke of a violent incident where several people were killed, including himself being injured. He also claimed the U.S. government was aware of these beings and had made covert agreements with them. Shortly after going public with his claims, Schneider died under mysterious circumstances. Legends and eyewitnesses aren't the only sources feeding this theory. Some claim prehistoric creatures, thought to be extinct, still thrive inside the Earth. Mammoths, dinosaurs, and even flying reptiles like pterodactyls are said to roam the vast inner chambers of the planet. The Book of Enoch also tells of the Watchers, fallen angels who mated with human women and tampered with animal DNA to create bizarre hybrid creatures. Across different mythologies, we see the same themes: Greek centaurs, Egyptian gods with animal heads and human bodies, and the Sumerian Anunnaki, who are sometimes depicted with eagle heads or bull bodies. Are these stories mere symbols, or distorted memories of real bioengineering from a time before the flood? Other unusual creatures are also said to inhabit this subterranean world: insectoid and arachnid entities, giant serpents guarding underground portals, and vast, intelligent beasts that defy explanation. These tales surface again and again in ancient traditions, cryptozoological reports, and esoteric accounts. One of the most detailed and strange stories comes from a book called The Smoky God by Willis George Emerson. It tells the story of a Norwegian sailor named Olaf Jansen, who claimed that he and his father sailed into the inner earth through a polar opening. There, they reportedly lived among giants, peaceful, advanced beings who lived for centuries and worshipped a central, dim sun that lit their world. Jansen described rivers wider than oceans, cities of golden spires, and fertile lands untouched by war or disease. The people were over 12 feet tall, had immense knowledge, and even domesticated mammoths like we do horses or elephants. Plants grew to massive proportions under the inner sun, and strange creatures roamed the landscape. When Jansen finally returned to the surface, his story was dismissed. He was ridiculed and silenced. But he never retracted a word. Another major figure in Hollow Earth literature is Raymond W. Bernard, who popularized the theory in the 20th century. He drew connections between earlier authors like William Reed, who wrote Phantom of the Poles in 1906, and more spiritual traditions. Bernard believed the poles were gateways to a massive inner world, and that ancient civilizations such as those of Tibet, India, and the Mayans held knowledge of these hidden realms. He also linked the Hollow Earth to UFO phenomena, suggesting that some sightings are actually crafts entering or exiting this underground world. And then there's the Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 by 12 nations and still in effect today. It forbids military activity, nuclear tests, and resource exploitation on the continent, ostensibly to preserve it for peaceful scientific research. But some question why such strict control is needed over what's supposedly just a frozen wasteland. Is it possible that what's being protected isn't ice, but something buried beneath it? The Antarctic region remains one of the most restricted areas on Earth. No private exploration, no independent research, no permanent settlements. Just international agreements, military enforcement, and sealed-off zones. Some researchers believe Antarctica may hold the southern gateway to the inner world, just as Admiral Byrd's accounts suggest the North Pole does. Across time, geography, religion, and science, the clues begin to align. Ancient texts describe realms below, modern witnesses speak of lost civilizations, and government behavior points to something hidden and heavily guarded. Is the Hollow Earth just a myth, or a forgotten reality we've been conditioned to ignore? Maybe we haven't just been looking in the wrong place. Maybe we haven't been allowed to look at all.